Greetings, everyone. My name is Aaron Morrison.
Lish.
Oh, this is good tea. And I'm Stu.
Of course. And we're Animation Triad.
Yeah, we are.
Today we got a special episode waiting for you guys. It's one of my favorite animated TV series ever.
It's
All of ours.
It's all of our favorites. Sorry.
It's okay. We're bringing all the elements together, and we got three of the best ones right here. Of course, I'm talking about Avatar.
The Last Airbender.
Woohoo!
And if you noticed, we're actually all of the nations except the Airbender because, as you know, Aang was the last one.
But you know what?
For this series.
They're all around us. Air is all around us. So you know what? We're all four here.
And you know
There
what?
you
What?
go.
There's basically like an orangish color back here, so let's just pretend this is Aang and that he's with us. But otherwise, I am Water Tribe.
Fire coming at you.
Fire Nation.
Earth Nation.
But in all seriousness.
We are
Yeah.
so excited. I'm a little more excited than most.
Oh,
Sorry.
trust me. I was so geeked up for this. I'm so happy.
Tell us more, Aaron. We
Okay.
want to know all of it.
So, guys, we're talking about a series that's so beloved by everyone. And this is, one, in my opinion, Nickelodeon's best show to come up to date. And then this,
SpongeBob, you can suck it.
there you
You
go.
really can. Absorb it like the sponge you are.
The gauntlet has been thrown down, folks. So
It has been. Nothing will ever. Well, there might be some things that match Avatar, but nothing will ever be this cool from that decade.
yeah, you know what? There
Yeah.
you go, folks.
Mm-hmm.
But as it is, this series came from at least, I think, 2005 to 2008, and it's been one hell of a journey.
Yes.
Tell us, Stu, what's your thoughts on this series?
Well, initially when I first heard about it, this was right when it started, I thought it sounded stupid. This was right around the time when they had that big craze where a lot of series were trying to, like, get an anime vibe, so there was, like, Martin
Yep.
Mystery or Totally Spies, all of which were French, actually, but they were anime-inspired-ish.
Exactly.
Then you had, like, Shaolin Showdown and all that, Code Lyoko. And I just was like, you know what, this just seems like another cash-in. And, which is weird, because I was also a big fan of Teen Titans, which
Who
is
isn't?
very
I'm sorry.
heavily anime-influenced as well. But I was on a fan forum for it, and somebody posted links to it on YouTube. This was back when YouTube had just basically started and whatnot, and you could find basically anything on there. You still can to some degree, but this was entire episodes. And I started watching the first season just because somebody on the forum wouldn't shut up about it. So I started watching it, and
Good reason, isn't
in
it?
2 days I basically marathoned the entire first season.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
Right?
Yeah,
How do you not?
I was just
It's-
like, it's amazing. And then I was like, when season 2 come out, and I watched it air date every single time.
Everyone was so
Oh
happy
my
for
god,
it.
I was hooked.
Thank you.
So hype.
Yeah.
Lish?
What do I think of the Avatar series? Well, I love them both. I love this one, and I also love Legend of Korra, which comes after it.
Come at you, folks.
Yes, we will be reviewing that as well.
Down the line.
But for The Last Airbender, my first experiences with it, I didn't get to watch it when it first came out.
Okay.
Mhm.
I only got to watch the series after it had been released and after it had ended, and it was... I wouldn't say that it sounded ridiculous or lame or anything necessarily, but I didn't know if it would be my bag. So when somebody suggested that I watch it, I'm like, okay. They're like, I think you'd really enjoy it. Alright, I'll give it a chance. The first episode, I was hooked. It is a beautiful story. It is
Yes.
hilarious. It draws you in with humor.
Definitely.
Sokka, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Sokka and Aang. Aang is hilarious.
Look, you know what? Everybody had their
Everyone
own
has
take.
their moments.
Yeah, you know.
Everyone
Yeah,
has their
Katara's
moments.
probably the only one who's not super funny, but that's okay.
Dry humor works.
Yeah,
What?
Dry humor.
she has her
Yeah,
moments.
yeah.
Yeah, she really does.
But everyone needs an anchor. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I absolutely adore it. I think it's funny. I think it's very smart. it is gorgeous animation.
It is.
I can't wait to talk about it, for real. Getting in depth, not only with the beautiful character developments and story arc, but also the social implications
There's so
of
many
this show.
folks.
It was not a pandering kind of show.
Oh no.
No.
It was 100% change your life kind of show for me. Both this one and actually the subsequent series, Legend of Korra. Both, in my opinion, were life-changing and kind of a very accurate mirror of society. Not only what it is, but also what it could be.
Sure words gonna be more said.
It's also one of the most diverse series to ever come from Nick. I would
Yes.
say.
Yes, it was.
Yes. I do wish there had been more black people.
You know what?
But-
in a sense, you know what? Watching the series, I can understand for what it was trying to illustrate. We're talking about bringing in a show that told stories from such a group of individuals that hasn't really been expressed that much in our Western world through animation.
Right.
And it was done beautifully in a way that anybody just come into the show and just watch down and just get sucked into it.
Yep. And I do have to agree with you both that the diversity was pretty amazing, because even if you do account for the lack of one race particularly, there still were many different races as protagonists,
Yes.
as well-rounded
Definitely.
characters, and later on we even come across a character who has a disability. And
Several.
Toph,
Yeah, it is.
but Toph is the one that really stands out for me because she is a main character.
Yes.
Yes.
And she is not helpless. She is not stupid. She is not pathetic.
Toph rocks.
There you-
Toph, ha! That's funny.
That's the only way you can say it.
Earthbender.
She
It's okay.
rocks.
But
It's
that's
all right.
totally an Earthbender pun. Toph rocks,
gonna
because
make
she's
it.
an Earthbender.
But you know what,
Representing.
folks? There you go, folks. It's
Representing.
all there.
Mhm.
But you know, let's take it down a notch.
I
Let's
am
try and
coming
break it down.
back to Toph.
We're gonna have our own little section for Toph right there. But you know, let's sit down. Let's actually break it down from its very roots. Let's talk about the story. Let's talk about the world itself. This is the story building behind this show is outstanding.
Yes.
The world building is just magnificent. It
We're
really
talking
is.
about we're bringing in the whole idea behind Avatar is dealing with the four main elements: earth, wind, fire, and water. And they do it in such a unique way, with such a vibrancy. So let's talk about that. Each of the four nations. Let's go a little bit deeper into that.
Okay, so
Of course.
yeah,
You know what? Still, since you're wearing Earth, can you tell us about it?
okay, the Earth Kingdom is heavily inspired by Chinese culture, I would say. I mean,
Okay.
the city of Ba Sing Seng, giant wall. I mean, little on the nose right there. The style of the dress is also similar to some of that was found around, I don't know the exact time period. Even the martial arts are all based off actual martial arts from those areas.
Yes, it is.
So, it's really cool. And I will say that when we get to Ba Sing Seng in season 2, I love that season. I really do. I mean, it has... We're going to go into some spoiler territories, folks, so it's a given with us.
You know, the
But
show
we're
is
just-
the series is almost
I won't
over.
ruin too much for you because, quite frankly, this is an experience you have to see.
It does.
But season 2 ending, the end of season 2 is such a cliffhanger, but it's done
Yes.
so well. It is just leaves you breathless at the end.
I was
it really
sitting
does.
on the edge of my seats waiting for it to come
Mhm.
back. I couldn't believe they were ending it right there.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's-
no, please go forward.
It's funny, because that's not a spoiler at all.
No, it's not a spoiler. I am trying to avoid it as much as possible.
Oh, I'm not.
Always
This thing
looking
has
for you
been out-
guys.
This thing has
Yeah.
been out for years. Like,
True,
if you
but it's like-
haven't seen it, anything we say should just wet your palate.
True, true. But yeah, I actually really like the Earth Kingdom aspects of it because you see them basically using their transportation. They have
Yes.
these trains and stuff that they use
Yeah.
to earthbending to move and everything.
You know what? Just going into earthbending, the whole aspect behind earthbending is really phenomenal. We're talking about, they do it in such a crazy way. It's almost like using gravity in a way. Where these people have their own propelling force of gravity to shoot forth earth. That's amazing.
And pull it up from areas and stuff. I mean, it's just fantastic. And this is also, well, it was technically the second time with Toph that we saw the ultimate move in it. Which we will, I think we should all discuss those.
And
when
I
we
want
get to
to
them.
discuss that when it comes to character development.
Yeah, because it's a big one.
So important.
It
not
is.
just for the move itself, but also for her. And again, representationally speaking, it's huge for people with disabilities. So, I mean, I'm trying to wait until we get to that section.
I know, it's quite alright.
We're getting there, so hopefully we're going to drive right in.
Another aspect of the Earth Kingdom, with the Emperor.
Yes.
The Forbidden City, basically.
That's a
big influence on that.
Definitely was.
Big time.
More than that, what's interesting with the Earth Kingdom, or with any of the nations, is how their society and their people and their overall personality embraces the core foundation of the elements. So, for example, with the Earth Kingdom, Earth is a very strong and powerful and rigid and stubborn kind of element. So the people have to be strong. They have to have endurance. And they absolutely do. They have a very capable military, a very vast military, despite an antagonistic Fire Nation.
That's the unique thing about Avatar. Everybody has their own unique drawbacks. It's not this show itself doesn't necessarily does it on the lines of one person's bad, one person's good, and it has black and white. No, there are beautiful shades in it. I just pointed it out.
I love that too, actually, is that every single nation also has both good and bad people in it, so you never get a homogeneous view of any nation, despite the way some of the characters actually feel about the Fire Nation.
Exactly.
Many of them are extremely biased against the Fire Nation for good reason, which Aaron will be discussing in a few minutes.
You're gonna learn, people.
But you are, and who better to school ya than the Fire Lord himself. But the Earth Nation is strong and rigid, and that is especially exemplified in their Emperor and also in Toph. The Fire Nation is, fiery. They are very impassioned. They are very bold and forthcoming. The Fire Nation is not a shy nation at all.
Well, let's go into it, folks. When you're introduced into the world of Avatar, you're introduced in the story with a way of you're coming backwards, because the mere fact is there was a huge event that happened before, like I think 1,000 years before, or
100.
100. Thank you, 100 years before the time of the current Avatar, who is Aang. That event was that the Fire Nation got it in their heads that they're the best nation out there, and just like Nazis, unfortunately, decided they kind of wanted to expand their territory, expand their influence. There you go. And
put the tip.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Really?
I was wondering how long
for that?
I was wondering how long it would take us to get to a Nazi reference. I was wondering how long we could fight.
I was going along with him.
It's okay, but you know what?
I'm only contributing 1 penny, because that didn't really count as a tangent.
1 penny is all it counts.
Unjustified.
I'm doing it mostly because it took us this long to get to making a Nazi joke. In our entire series, this is, I think, the first time we've made a Nazi joke.
It's only because literally Sozin decided to take over all of the nation.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like,
He decided to try and wipe out an entire race of people.
The people were talking about the airbenders.
Air nomads.
There's the air nomads.
There's a reason why it's called The Last Airbender, folks.
It's the only one. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a comparison to be made.
It's crazy. You see, they get in there. The Fire Nation, we're going right back into them. They get this idea that they're the strongest, they're the best, and of course they want to expand their territory, and try and help other people by experiencing their culture, their power, and they get this idea that if you just go out there and show a huge show of force, everybody will fall in line, and for the most part, it actually does work. That show of force, of course, was the genocide of a complete group. That group, the Air Nomads. Oh, that was one heck of a time.
But we have
Children's cartoon. Genocide.
But see, that's what makes this such a great cartoon. Not the genocide itself, but I mean that's a bonus. No, I'm joking. Not serious at all. Yeah, I'm not. But that's what makes this such a great show, and actually great for kids, is learning about things like this, that they do exist, even in the real world, and there are ways to overcome them.
It is.
And despite this, the Fire Nation is not shown as a homogenous group, as we see later in the series, which I think is great, because it's so easy to just look at Germans or Austrians and think, oh, Nazis, right? Screw those guys. But the truth is, not all Germans, not all Austrians, not all Polish people.
And not all firebenders.
And not all firebenders were homicidal, xenophobic maniacs. I mean, there were several that actually didn't even really want to be involved. They didn't like how things got to where they were.
It's true.
I mean,
Well, it was a very militaristic state. I mean, if you're going to compare it to anything, I'd say you could compare it more to, what it's based off of, which is basically Japan during
Japan and China for the most part. And I think this is where the Earth Benders and the Fire Nation both come into play, because they both play off each other.
Oh yeah, definitely, because there is a huge history of issues between China and Japan. That is a big problem.
And it's definitely reflected within the show as well. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to compare the Airbenders to anyone, it'd be Tibet, basically.
Tibetan nuts,
probably.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as a comparison, and then of course.
And the Water Tribe, of course, would be compared to the Inuit nations.
Very true.
So, are we actually ready to talk about the Water Tribe?
You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's go into the Water Tribe.
So, the Water Tribe is really interesting because that is where our story starts out. This is actually where we meet two of our protagonists, Katara and Sokka. So we're introduced to them immediately, and we kind of, in a sense, already have maybe a bias toward this nation just because it's the one we start with and that we're familiar with. But
it happens.
They do kind of, they're maybe not quite as removed as the Air Nomads would have been, because the Air Nomads were pacifists pretty much. They were a civilization basically of monks. They sort of rejected most materialistic things and such like that, whereas the Water Tribe is more about tradition and home and hearth and the self. They take care of themselves and they live fairly harmoniously. They don't go around trying to start wars.
Unless, of course, with each other, but there's a whole drama behind that.
They have drama, but they didn't have an all-out war.
Exactly.
They had some passive-aggressive little what's-its, yeah. But overall, they're a very peaceful nation who just, I think it's really to do with their element. Because water, while having the potential for great harm, bloodbending, by the way, totally a fan. I know, unpopular opinion, but I like it.
No, I love
It was cool. I love that episode.
And
I thought
I'll
that
tell you why
it was
later.
so cool.
But, yeah, I think overall the element of water really heavily influences their culture, and not just in terms of their dress style, the fact that they fish most of their food,
Yep.
that they live in
North and South poles.
yes.
And in some jungle areas.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely.
Right, basically wherever there is a surplus of water. But I think it really influences their desire to go with the flow, to kind of go along to get along, to focus more on healing and love.
Water is the culture.
And change.
Exactly.
They're willing to change and go with it as long as it doesn't affect them or others negatively.
Exactly.
And I think it's a beautiful culture, honestly.
It truly is. But of course, that also leaves us with our very last element, and that element being air. Now, you get the air nomads, as was stated earlier. The culture of the air nomads is based loosely off of, like you said, Tibetan monks.
I guess you could say.
The whole idea of Buddhism within itself, and just being able to give, selfishly of yourself, and be one with everything around you.
They are wise and free-spirited.
And of course, this is where you get your main protagonist from, Aang.
Aang, our avatar, who eventually embodies.
So cool kid.
He's so great. He's so great. The first time I watched this series, he was, before I met Toph, he was, hands down, my favorite the first time I saw this series. The first time I watched it, I thought Sokka was a little asshole because he was sexist.
Yes, yes, he was.
I loved Aang up until the part where you finally get where Zuko started really hanging on his own. I mean, don't get me wrong.
And you don't like Aang?
No, I still love Aang. Aang is really cool, but I mean, it's that when he started introducing that whole idea with him and his love for Katara. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love that too, but he had this selfishness of trying to keep them together like that because there was the people he knew after he came out of the iceberg and stuff. Kind of lowered him down a little bit as a character for me, but it's cool.
I still loved Aang. The first time around, like I said, he was so full of life. He was hilarious. He was wise, intelligent, wise beyond his years for a 12-year-old boy.
Yes.
What?
112, technically.
Okay, but still,
Yes.
for
Is that
that age.
statutory rape? What do you really think
what?
about?
Wait a minute.
What is it?
Hold on a minute. She's
Honestly.
like 12 or 13.
But he's 112 though.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, we really think about that. It's like, wow.
He never had a chance to grow up. Oh my God, shit got weird. Put money in the jar. Put money in the jar.
Okay, I'll put money in the jar, but it still scratched my head even to this day.
He was in an iceberg. He was basically cryogenically frozen.
Hey, you know what? I can't say anything against that.
God. So,
I'm just gonna.
aside from Aaron's supposed pedophilia angle on Aang,
you can't argue with the numbers. He's 112 and she was what? What is he? She was 12, 13?
12 or 13,
Like,
yeah.
I thought she was like they were like in their mid-teens.
I thought that too, so I was like, it was a flip side for me.
Sokka was in his mid-teens.
Yeah, you're right.
He was a few years older, but they were just coming into their teenage years. So anyway, though, Aang, I thought, was hilarious, wise beyond his years, and just a very touching character. I really liked him the first time around, and even with his rage later on, his fear, his attachment to Katara, I still think he's a great and well-rounded character. It's so easy to build Aang up as a Jesus figure, as the savior, because he's the avatar, and that's what everybody puts on him. But the truth is, even with all of this power, he's still a regular guy. He still has the same fears and desires as anybody else. He still has flaws. And I love that about him.
That's
I
what saved the character
love,
for me. That's what definitely saved the character for me.
I
And don't treat
absolutely
him.
love that Jesus is a regular guy.
That's how this series does an astounding job with their characters. And it makes you, they literally feel as though they're right there with you. Because you could just go into their story. It's like, you know what? I can see that happening.
In all honesty, I'd say that one of the biggest pulls, besides the actual world and the amazing art and just the fight scenes and everything, this series is so great. But one of the biggest draws, in my opinion, are the characters.
There you go.
Because, as you said, they are well-rounded. Everyone has a good backstory. Everyone has solid. They feel real almost.
The story arcs are no
The
joke.
voice acting is phenomenal for all of them.
Yes.
Everyone. Not a bad performance in the whole bunch.
Nope.
And it's just incredible. It was really some of the best animation on TV at the time, hands down. And it still holds up. It really does.
It really does. It's aged pretty well.
No lies.
But since we are talking about characters still, we started off with Aang. You even brought characters to light. I'd like to talk about some of our other main characters. And our other truly main characters are Katara, Sokka, Toph, Zuko.
Oh, yeah.
And I would even maybe count General Iroh
Yes.
as a main
definitely
character.
He is
And
in
you
there.
might even want to count Appa and Momo.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe.
the characters on their own
Because,
right.
like, as far as animals go, they were very well characterized. I can't even talk, but Appa's Lost Days feels. So many feels. And then, General Iroh. I won't go into that. Brave little soldier boy, come marching home.
Oh, God,
Okay,
no. Please,
no,
We're not doing that.
No,
We're
no.
not doing that. But second, third, fourth, fifth time around, I love this show.
There we go.
Watching Avatar, I actually really grew to like Sokka. Like,
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he's
so
hilarious.
So awesome.
he's hilarious, but he's also like a mastermind.
Oh, he is.
And nobody gives him credit for it.
Well, he comes across as a bit of an idiot, but when you really get right down to it, he actually does a lot of the planning.
Yeah, you know.
Does.
Which is surprising when you first meet him, because you think, oh, he's just an idiot.
You know, but that made me so proud and so happy and so grateful for him to have that one episode, Sokka's Master, where he finally gets his own unique twist in the game. His meteor sword.
Yep.
That was so cool. So awesome.
What I loved about Sokka's character, especially multiple times around, was that he learned to overcome his previous biases.
Yes.
He was, in many ways, kind of the layman. He had a bias against women, which Suki knocked right out of him. And then he grew from that. He learned that that wasn't helping him or anybody else to hold those beliefs. Even more than that, he grew to let go of his bias against the Fire Nation.
Yes.
And he started doing that on his own. He could have very easily ended up like Jet, one of our smaller side characters, because of his bias toward the Fire Nation, but he didn't. He was like, look, this is a helpless old man. What is wrong with you? What are you doing? He grew on his own terms, and the lesson really stuck with him. He is one hell of a character.
Yeah, no lies. There's just truth.
Yeah.
But then again, that also brings you into his sister, Katara.
Yes.
And Katara is just one of those female characters that's introduced in the series that is just, you know, it makes me appreciate storytelling even more so in this animated series. I love Katara. She's just amazing. She's so strong, so independent, but at the same time nurturing. And then you get that because, I mean, you're talking about a young woman who had to experience something so traumatic as losing your own mother. That's I can't understand how her childhood went through after that.
She had grand, but still nothing can ever replace your mom, especially if you loved your mom.
Exactly.
Which she did. I mean, it's not like she had a dysfunctional relationship.
No.
Unlike poor Zuko's family.
Wait, that's...
Oh, there's some family counseling needed.
Seriously.
Understatement of the year.
They are textbook. But yeah, Katara and Sokka both had a very loving and nurturing family, but they both did have to cope with loss.
I feel like
the loss
Katara.
of their mother.
Yeah.
She lost her role model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But honestly, they lost their dad too.
They did.
Because he had to go away and fight in the war.
Which, by the way, folks, the way the war was emphasized in this series was done astounding.
Oh, it was.
It literally made you. It felt like a real war because they had real stakes in it. People were losing their lives. Entire ways of life were being changed because of the victors of the war. As is always stated, war is
It's hell.
It's hell. Yeah,
It
is.
And it's interesting that you bring that up because not only did their lives change based on the war, but these losses that occurred weren't solved tidily in one little episode.
No.
They went on, and there were after effects. There were after effects for their mother. There were after effects for their father. Even when they're reunited with their father, Katara's got some anger.
And
Katara's got some abandonment issues, and you know what? I get it, girl. I get it so much. Zuko and his issues. He also lost a mother.
Yes.
And his father was abusive. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it like it is.
Oh, there's no
that's straight up. When you burn off half your son's face, that's
for
that's
something
abusive.
so nonchalant.
And and on top of that, it's possible that his mother was murdered. We don't even know what happened to his mom.
Well, actually,
we do.
We do?
Yeah, in the comics,
Really?
Yeah,
they
go
continued
back
in
forward.
comics. You didn't know that?
Yeah.
I didn't know there were comics
Of
until
course.
today.
Yeah.
There you go, folks.
Here,
It's
the
on multiple
search.
medias.
All right,
the search
I'm gonna borrow
continues.
that.
That's the Rift. One second. That's the Rift Part 2.
It was actually
Here's
very phenomenal.
3. Promise.
It's okay.
Promise,
We'll figure that out later.
Promise.
But
Lost
I would like to
Adventures.
borrow that
Search.
one.
Search. Here you go.
But his mother.
Part 1.
Thank you. I'm borrowing this, and we will talk
Yeah.
later. But but yeah, he loses his mother. His father is pulling a very classic trope of making Azula, his sister, Zuko's sister, the mascot. She is A+ student, can do no wrong. She is the star.
She's homicidal.
She's him.
She's got some problems.
She's him.
And then Zuko is the scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who can't do anything right. But luckily, he's got a very nurturing uncle who's trying to help him get on the right path, who has one of the most heartbreaking story arcs as far as loss goes.
Let's go up and go into that.
Yeah.
General Iroh was one of the Fire Nation's top generals, and you
A
would
war
think,
hero.
and you would think that would make him an unsympathetic character because we've spent all this time hating the Fire Nation, questioning the Fire Nation, and then all of a sudden there's this general, this basic leader of the Fire Nation, but suddenly he's not part of that anymore. He's retired from that, and that's where we see him, is retired. But you find out why, because he loses his son.
It's true.
He loses his son in the war, and that's enough for him to realize nobody should have to go through this ever again, and I'm not contributing to this anymore.
But I think it was also a little bit more of that, because you also figure out that Uncle Iroh was also one of the most culturally
Diverse.
Not I wouldn't say diverse, but he was a very knowledgeable man of the world itself. He took that into himself in his travels.
He also incorporated elements of water bending into his fire bending.
With his redirection
of lightning, which is the hidden move for his fire.
Simple. These are extra things. These may have contributed, but ultimately the thing that made him leave.
Oh, that was a push him.
I truly believe that was his son, and that's what I was trying to say, is the loss of his son completely changed his worldview. It completely changed the way he did things, and even the way he related to Zuko. It almost created more of an attachment between him and Zuko. And in that episode where you actually get to see what this loss has done to him. It's a very gripping and heartbreaking episode. You will feel things.
Oh, definitely.
You may
Tales
not
of Bossy
feel.
Insane.
You may not feel as many things as I felt when I watched this every time I watch it, but you will feel things.
Oh, I cried when I saw that.
Same.
It was sad.
I
It was
literally
terrible.
cried like last night when I watched it.
Oh, wow.
And same thing with like Appa later. I'm like, and Doug's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I just know it's coming," and he's like, "You then you know they'll be okay." I'm like, "I just have feelings." Yeah. But these characters are all so well-rounded and so well done, and they all fit together like puzzle pieces.
They do.
Yeah, they really do. They make a complete family for the show.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that point.
It's more than just family. They truly complement each other, and they fill in the gaps. They fill in the weaknesses.
And nobody gets left behind. They all shine. There are moments throughout the entire series that each character is made relevant.
Yes.
Including at the very end of the entire series.
No one felt like it was
Nobody was left out.
Nobody was.
Nobody.
They even brought back characters who you didn't even think was necessarily important.
Coming back.
And it was like,
Cabbages!
Oh.
oh, that goes even further. That was such a cool running joke. I
That
love
was
that.
But truthfully, they even created sympathy for Azula, who was our main villain, aside from Fire
she
Lord
was
Ozai.
I love
Such
to
an
hate her.
She was excellent, and she is voiced by the incredible Grey Delisle.
Sure.
Oh.
Oh my, well, I think her name's Grey Griff. She got married, isn't it?
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
I'm bad with names, but Grey Delisle's what I've always known her called as, but whatever.
Iroh was voiced by Mako
Yes.
until things happened.
Unfortunately, he did pass during the making of this.
He did. Yes.
Yes.
But anyway, Azula.
Yeah. Azula is just. Oh, her and her Tylee and Mai.
Yeah.
They are
May,
Yeah.
not Mai, May. They were fantastic. They
Of
really were.
course.
I loved their introduction, and it was just. She is such a good villain. Azula is just
She's great.
fantastic.
And truthfully, there is absolutely a part of me that hates Azula.
Mhm.
You know, for obvious reasons.
But I understand her too.
She's a sociopath. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I also really like her and really relate to her for very strange reasons, okay? She was the kid who just had a natural talent for things growing up, and that was fostered. So she developed this weird sense of perfectionism. I truly believe many of her motivations came from striving to be that perfect child. Because when defeat finally is upon her, she screams.
But
and
there's a good
starts
reason for that.
crying.
Yeah.
Guys, you gotta understand, for Azula, it's definitely the struggle for perfection in the eyes of course, Daddy. But it was also the shame she felt because of her mother's eyes upon her.
But, understand, again, that's rooted in perfectionism. That's a constant imaginary audience that you feel like you have to live up to. And so I think it's just... I never thought I would feel sympathy for the devil, but just seeing all of this pressure that was placed on her like a little pressure cooker until one day she had no outlet at all. She couldn't be mean and horrible or anything. She was completely disarmed, and it took its toll on her. It broke her.
But then again, that's the thing that the show does. It brings out such draw and such power out of each character. And don't get me wrong, when they do villains, the villains they have, they're fantastic and they're very threatening. They literally are I would feel as though they're a threat. They're a huge threat. But at the same time, when they pull back and show the humanity behind them, you can't help but love them, or at least feel for them.
They feel like actual people.
They do.
Yeah.
Love. Absolutely love. And then I would actually like to talk about Toph.
Of course.
Of course.
I do
Toph
think
is awesome. Favorite
Toph
character.
is awesome.
She rots on.
Yeah.
Toph is awesome. Again, another funny one. She has some of the best one-liners, including
Oh my god, yes.
including a joke that is likely to go over children's heads, but the adults totally get it. And it's got your nuts in the sack right here, Aang. Don't you remember that one? Maybe we can find a clip
I forgot
here.
that one. We'll see if we can put a clip in of that one.
Hopefully, here's a clip here.
There it is! That's what it will sound like when one of you spots it.
And but anyway,
There was she had a lot of good ones, especially
she really
like
did.
she also would use her disability as a joke as well.
Exactly.
But that's actually what I think is great, is because she was a disabled character, but it didn't. While it may have defined her, it didn't hinder her. And she embraced it so fully that she could make jokes about it. And I think that is pivotal, societally speaking, because
It is.
so many disabled characters in the media are tragic in one way or another. They're either villains or they're inspiration porn. And she was neither. She was badass. She came up with an entirely new form of earthbending that was unheard of, unprecedented until her.
Toph opened the door. Let's just say she opened the door for not just the show, but for kids who does have disabilities to actually feel and look at themselves in a different way. I mean, you talk about a character who's definitely she turned her disability into a strength, into a just an average part of her. That's just like, I'm this, but who cares?
Yeah.
I'm also able to do all these other cool things.
I wouldn't even say that she turned her disability into a strength. She was strong.
There you go.
She had these skills. Everybody around her, up until the Aang Gang, I'm gonna steal Sokka's line there, the Aang Gang, Team Avatar.
There you go.
Up until them, everyone around her infantilized her and patronized her. They all thought she wasn't capable of anything. And all the while, she was leading a double life because she knew better.
Even her father, once he found out, was still against it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was just...
Right. So it's not even turning your disability into a strength. She worked with what she had, and not only did she make the best of it, like, she freaking made the best.
I mean, I just used it as turned into a strength for because the idea that with earthbending, the whole idea was that you're supposed to wait and listen, and that was one of the main reasons why she became part of Team Avatar, because Aang was supposed to find a earthbender teacher who waited and listened and was able to just really feel and become part of the earth, and that's exactly what Toph ended up doing.
Right.
That's what she was.
Right, and what makes her more pivotal than that, I think, even beyond her waiting and listening, is that Aang needed a backbone. And nobody prophesized that she would give him a backbone, but boy, did she give him a backbone.
She was not above giving him a smack upside the head and being like, get to it.
She is the toughest and most resolute character. 100%, and I love that about her. I actually love the young women in this show, all of them, even Azula, because none of them are helpless.
No, not at all. They're all very strong characters, and they're well-rounded, and it's just a tribute to the writing. The writing is some of the best I have seen in a long time.
It truly is.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that goes into, I guess we can talk about some of our favorite episodes.
Oh, good grief.
And there's so many to pick from. You know what? I'm just gonna go off the back. I have at least 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
And of course, I want to definitely pick within the last, definitely the last episodes of Sozin's Comet and the Phoenix King.
Oh yeah,
Those are amazing.
Those ones are, in my opinion, some of the best in the entire series.
Some of the best animation done.
God. Oh, it's beautiful.
God, there's so much. And then there was also, of course, Days in Bossing Say.
Oh yeah.
The way that episode was directed.
Tales?
Tales. I'm sorry. Thank you. Tales of
Ba-
Bossing Say.
yeah.
And having that moment, that touching moment with Iroh.
Yeah.
God.
Not only that, the entire thing, because there was
Yes.
a scene where Momo was having a dream about Appa missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And being able to find him again. Momo goes like on this chase, this adventure, makes new friends.
Mm-hmm. But keeps the old.
There you go.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. One is silver and the other's gold.
Pay up.
I'm paying.
Okay. So
Sorry, I had to. My mother ran
So-
daycare for years. I had to.
I get it. So anyway, though, Momo has a dream about Appa, goes on this adventure, makes new friends, blah blah, nursery rhyme, and then all he's left with is a footprint,
Dang.
and he curls up in the footprint,
It just cries.
and then it starts to rain.
Oh.
And it's like this poor little guy is alone without his friend. Not to mention the way that the loss of Appa affects Aang. Like, seriously.
Big time.
If you mess with my pets, you will be facing some Aang wrath. I'm just saying.
We'll be
But,
facing the Avatar state.
yes, exactly. Some Aang wrath,
Oof.
Avatar state.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Tales of Ba Sing Se, I think, was a great episode. We got to see Sokka with his wordplay.
Mm-hmm.
Mastering the haikus up until Sokka Raja, and then it was too many syllables.
Yeah.
But that was an absolutely great episode.
That actually is
Yeah,
one of
that
my
was
favorites.
That's really
That
cool.
I can't really pinpoint too many of my favorite episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I can, however, pinpoint some of my favorite moments.
Okay.
Okay.
Iroh crying about his kid. I'm sorry, and the song, it's heart-wrenching, but it is one of my favorites. It really stuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Toph discovering metal bending,
That was so cool.
and her just straight teaching Aang how to earthbend.
That was pretty awesome.
I don't know why, but I actually really liked a lot of the darker moments in this show.
Thank you. Yeah,
Like
there's a lot of
when
good ones.
Katara learns how to bloodbend.
That whole
That
episode
was so.
It was
Awesome.
mind-blowing
Cool.
because bloodbending is wrong, right? It's unethical. I keep using air quotes, but it's
Airbending
unethical.
for
Yeah.
quotation.
But, I mean, it's considered unethical. There's only one lady that does it, and in order to save her friends, Katara goes against her ethics and bloodbends the bitch.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Well, she does it
Like-
again later.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
She does. Like, she embraced her dark side.
Uh-huh.
I like it. But it's so great because I've gotten into many conversation with Avatar fans before, and we always try and pick our favorite element.
Mm-hmm.
We always try to pick the most powerful element. And, like, my husband thinks it's Earth. It could be Earth. It could be Earth. But I think, personally, the most powerful element is water. Because it can heal, it can bloodbend, it can do some damage, it can do all the things. So, like, for me, that would be my favorite.
Okay.
I will give you that. Only because, in my opinion, they're all powerful. They're all great.
They all have their
And
strengths.
I
Absolutely.
really believe this, truthfully, for the series, because each element is showcased with such astounding beauty, such detail. And yes, water bending has blood bending, has ice, it can heal people. But then when you go back and they actually give you the full laydown of fire bending and what it's supposed to be.
With the
This
dragons,
is-
that was an awesome
Thank
scene.
you.
Yes.
That was
yes,
fantastic.
fire.
It is.
It's so cool. I mean, yes, throughout the series, we because of the
Earth is amazing.
Yeah,
too.
yes.
Please don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
No,
they
I like
all
Earth.
are.
I like Earth. I thought that
I
was
know you
awesome.
do.
Metal bending is one of the
joking.
coolest bending out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get firebending has like yes, it's destruction, it causes death and destruction, but at the same time it's also life itself. And that's when Lane finally gets to learn firebending, which is one of my favorite episodes.
Yes.
That was
Zuko
excellent.
and Aang learning
Yes.
true firebending was phenomenal.
Oh, there is one thing I have to point out. A little line from Toph.
Mm-hmm.
When she says like, okay, so everyone else has gone on like a magical journey with Zuko. That scene,
Yes,
she's
I love
like,
that.
What? He's just like, what? I was like, I loved that. That was just like,
That's
yes.
so cool.
I love how Toph is also just kind of low-key boy crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Sokka, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh, you can let me drown now. Truthfully, though, I love how... I mean, I guess what else could you expect from the show, but I love how Aang shows up to meet the right people at the right time
Yes.
to learn his elements. And I do think Zuko teaching him firebending was the most interesting because both characters had to be humbled.
They did.
Zuko had to be humbled of his grandiosity in terms of being a prince who's trying to capture the Avatar, whereas Aang failed at being the Avatar for a second, and they were both combating shame and trying to restore their honor. And it was so powerful when I actually saw that scene where Aang is like, no, I need to restore my honor.
Yes.
And then it instantly pans to Zuko, and I'm just like, they're two sides of the same coin right now.
Yeah.
Big time.
It goes a little bit deeper because
Yeah.
that episode when he was learning how to firebend again,
Mhm.
it wasn't just so much of him having to deal with him trying to capture Avatar. He had so much baggage.
Oh,
He had to
immensely.
learn to let go of that hate,
Mhm.
and being able to let go of that hate, he finally rediscovered that real flame within him.
Mhm.
And Aang, who was afraid of fire after his first attempts at fire,
After he heard Katara.
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
It was so. Oof.
And truthfully, I love the connection between Aang and Katara. I
Yes.
love
Mhm.
that they are so devoted to each other once they meet each other. I mean, okay, there's like weird little flirty jealousy things in the beginning, but then they are just so clearly like made for each other.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess literally because they were drawn
Yeah.
and written for each other, but
Mhm.
aside from that, it kind of broke my heart when he had to essentially let her go in order to find his avatar state.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I saw it as deeper than that. It wasn't as simple as he just had to let her go and not care. No. He had to assert his independence.
Mhm.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with loving someone and having the attachment of love to them,
Mhm.
but you can't be codependent.
True.
And I
Mhm.
think that's what
The Guru.
You're on
The
stuff right
guru.
there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
that's what the guru was trying to teach him, but not in so many words.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you have to let go. And he's like, I will never let go. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. You need to go Kate Winslet. And you need to let go for now.
Real talk though, after that episode, I had such a strange craving for onion banana juice.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, what did it taste like?
Oh, God.
Onion banana juice, like really?
Oh, God, no.
Like, what did it taste like?
Probably like
Yes,
bananas
probably.
and onions. And also, what is that? Pickles I'm detecting?
Okay. Fine. I forgot about that. I did. Well,
You know what?
yeah. Where do we go from there?
Well, I think it's really interesting socially, the implications
Mhm.
that this show has on us. Not just in how people of different races, genders, abilities are portrayed,
Mm-hmm.
but also in bigger world themes. How
Yes.
people cope with war,
Mhm.
how people find the various parts of themselves, embracing their strengths and their flaws, and learning to incorporate the different parts of themselves that they never would have thought existed. For
Thank
example, Iroh with learning about the other elements, you know, earth is substance, fire is power, water is change, air is freedom, and Iroh learned to incorporate those in the same way that the Avatar was going to have to do, and eventually did.
Yes.
I think those social implications are great, but the biggest one that stands out to me is how Aang defeats the Fire Lord.
Yeah.
Because he could have been violent. He could have killed, but he didn't. He pulled a straight Expelliarmus on this guy and disarmed. He disarmed him. He's like, I'm not gonna hurt you, but I am gonna take your bending away so that you can't hurt anyone else.
You know what? It was such a cool way how he discovered how to do that too, though. Because he got remember he was coming to that decision. His decision to try and find another way was so deep with him. You're talking about him coming from a group of individuals who are pacifists.
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to fight you if he has to protect himself or protect others. But no, he never had to make the choice to literally take a life and to want to have to take a life.
He
And
did kill once in the Earth Kingdom.
you can, you can
Sorry,
definitely
go
go.
ahead.
When did he kill the Earth King?
Do you remember when the one Earth General was trying to get him to turn into the Avatar?
I don't think he kill him.
No,
It was more like he
Hurt him. I thought. I don't
we
know.
didn't see or hear from him again. So.
Well, they also all the Earth Generals were all captured. Remember?
Yeah.
So
yeah, but we
I
never
don't know.
saw like an apology. We never, and that's usually what would happen with this series. So I just kind of got the impression that one guy didn't make it home.
I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I honestly don't remember that.
I'm sorry, you
No.
were saying.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Going back into it, this decision to come back and to try and find that other way, the way he went about doing it, he had to sit down and actually talk to himself, and not just talk about himself like saying, we all have to do when we have a really traumatic situation. No, he literally had to find all the avatars within himself and literally sit down and ask them, what the heck would you do in this situation? And when he had to go down a list of all the previous people who came before him, and when he finally ended up talking to an air nomad like himself, Avatar used that word, what was her name? Yin Jin. And her wisdom to him, having to tell him that, yes, I get it. We're both air nomads. We're taught that we're supposed to be peaceful. We're taught that every life on this earth is special, is meaningful. But because we're the Avatar, because our responsibility is to the world, we can't just think about ourselves, our own personal journey to get nirvana. That's closed to us because our responsibility is to the world. So you have you have to do what you have to do, and then him having to take that and that almost crushed him.
Yeah.
Him finding that was it the lion turtle?
Lion turtle, yeah.
Who gave him the ability? No, yeah, you're right. There's always another way.
A little Deus Ex Machina, but still.
I
mean, it was still very good. I mean, I didn't hate it.
I didn't think it was as cheesy as you did, though.
I didn't think it was cheesy. I'm just saying what I've heard people call it.
Oh no,
I've heard people
and
say
it really was. It actually is.
Yeah, it literally is getting out by divine intervention, basically. Because that's literally what it was. I mean, in a way you could see it as that.
Kind of, but here's the thing is he had those powers all along. It wasn't divine intervention, it wasn't some crazy random happenstance.
It was more like divine
was,
wisdom.
It was the culmination of his powers. It was self-actualization. It was finally carving his own path. He had finally come of age, truly, because all the advice was telling him to do one thing, and he soul-searched, and he found the right answer for who he wanted to be that also met with what he owed to the world.
By creating a new bending style, too, while he was doing it.
Yes.
Spirit bending.
There you go.
Spirit bending. And so, for me, I absolutely loved that finale. I loved that
was really good.
he
really awesome.
quieted himself and he focused on what he had to do and found a way nobody expected. And it was beautiful and it was magical, and I think that's a really great message for both children and adults.
Yes.
You don't have to do the obvious. to get it done.
Very true. And it just proves that this is a series that is, well, it was aimed at kids. It is something that anyone of any age can appreciate and can enjoy.
True.
Absolutely.
On many levels.
Yes.
Because I could see, I could show this to my nephew now, and he'd probably enjoy it, and then he could come back later and like, oh my god, that is even better.
Yes.
So that's the
Right?
beauty of it, yeah.
And it does that in this series, and it does that in the next. And it's
It
you
does
just
do it in
can't.
Korra.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have to get to that soon.
I can't wait.
Korra's even more mature because I feel like with this one, it was so kid friendly that the overall message is peace, love, acceptance, finding a non-violent way.
Yes.
And so
You know what? It kind of trails out in both series, but definitely within this one.
definitely in this one, things get a little messier in Korra, but I love it.
Exactly.
Well, we'll talk more about that when we get to Korra.
Definitely.
I think.
Yeah.
But
So, yeah.
cannot say enough good things
No.
about the series, and like I said, the social implications of what that means.
Definitely. And I think we've touched on quite a bit right now.
Yes.
So, folks, you've heard our thoughts on it, and I'm pretty sure you've heard most of the internet's thoughts on it. We love this series, and I think it's a
case you
class.
couldn't
If you couldn't tell, yeah.
No faults. This series
Yeah.
is just amazing.
We love it to death. Everyone does a great performance, and watch it. Do yourself a treat and watch this series.
Please do.
And
Seriously.
curl up with a cup of tea.
Indeed. So,
More than hot leaf juice.
indeed. Or cactus juice.
It's the quenchiest!
So, Lish, what are we talking about next week?
Next week.
Or next
We're-
episode, I should say.
Well, next episode. Next episode, we are discussing something very near and dear to my heart. We are discussing Sailor Moon. Now, specifically, we will be talking about Sailor Moon Crystal, because it's going to be a little faster for these guys to get through. But trust me, the original Sailor Moon anime is coming. So,
Eventually.
tune in. Yes. So, in the meantime, tune in for Sailor Moon Crystal Review. We'll have these guys, we'll have myself, and we'll have some mystery guests.
Ooh.
I know, exciting.
Right? So, thank you so much for tuning in this time.
Mhm.
We hope you enjoyed it. As always, we love talking about this stuff, so.
Oh, just adore
Oh,
it.
we do. So, once again, thank you so much. My name is Stu,
Aaron.
Lish,
and this has been Animation Triad.
let's see you next time.
Bye-bye.